Now on to the last story. And I saved you for last because, frankly, I'm not even going to read the article. I'm just going to leave a link. But I'm going to give a response to someone who actually responded to the video I made. I know what he said, and trust me, I understand fully what he says. It's not a troll or person that's being racist or mean. Trust me, I understand fully what he said. I actually thank goodness that he actually comments and voice his opinion, because it gives me a chance to actually explain why Lindsay Lohan is pissing me off and pissing off a lot of other people. But there's a different kind of anger towards me with Lindsay Lohan, and it goes back not just on her troublesome week that she had in New York this week. It doesn't even go back to the incident with the car incident and the hotel situation. This goes back to everything, all bundled up in one, and it has and it all amounts to one thing. She believes she has everything under control. She doesn't have any problem. Everything's all right, and because the law, and I'll say the law because there's just as much responsible for her downward spiral as anybody else, is leading to the fact that they're making programs, very good programs, as a joke. And when I refer to programs, I'm referring to Drugs and Alcohol Anonymous. There is no secret that Lindsay Lohan has a drug and alcohol problems back in the past. I still think she still do, and I'll get to that in a minute. And she's been in rehab, and she's been out of rehab. She gets in trouble, she gets in rehab again, gets out of rehab, been forced to stay in rehab, only to get out of rehab. And you keep hearing the same thing. She learned from a lesson, she's doing rehab, she's making great progress. And I'm sitting here listening to this report and saying, no, she hasn't. She hasn't made not one progress yet. And you know why I always felt that she hasn't? Because she hasn't changed the lifestyle to keep herself from staying out of trouble. And the perfect example is when she's been living in New York for a while, has been doing crazy, stupid things, and they all have one thing in common: her going out late at night, partying, hanging out with friends she doesn't even barely know, and just having a tantrum because she didn't get away, because she has a way of her mouth, which led her to doing all crazy things, lying to the police about an accident, stealing a necklace purse, all sorts of things leading up to this problem, and she still hasn't addressed her problems. And believe me, she has a lot of problems. And here's the thing: it's more on the fact that she's making a mockery over some very good, very helpful programs that many people use to actually get help. All right, these programs are not bad programs. These are good programs. And granted, they always say it's what you make of these programs, what you bring in is what you get back. And it's so true. There are some programs that are expensive. Lindsay Lohan's program ain't cheap. A lot of these programs is very hard to get because A, people sometimes are not medically insured, and the price, especially for an inpatient, can go up the roof. There's no question that some of the best rehab clinics are the most expensive. And Lindsay Lohan, with the resources that she has, can afford the best possible care out there. In fact, the place that she went is probably one of the best in the countries. And she spent a lot of money just on rehab, just rehab alone. And I'm like this: if you're going to at least, even if you're being forced by court or not forced by court, if you're going to have to spend all this money on your own expense or your own medical insurance, you might as well get the best out of it. You might as well learn something about yourself. And it's not just about confessing to, yeah, I got an alcohol problem or I got a drug problem. It's basically learning about yourself. What triggered this? What triggered you to lay down this path? And I felt that by the time she got in there, she has not done that. Yeah, she probably talked about, I got an alcohol problem, I got, I do drugs and all this and that, but she never really dig deep inside herself. There's a lot of demons that she's not confronting. A lot of stuff she's not bringing out on the surface. And it leads me to my next thing: her hanging out all the time. It may have been cool, maybe a thrill when you're a teenager. She's 28 years old. She's going to be 30 in 2 years. Okay? And she's doing things that you normally don't think a 30-year-old do. And I know a lot of people say, well, that's her business and everything else. But if your hangouts is one of your triggers to you drinking alcohol, getting drunk and driving, or doing any kind of drugs, then you need to change that. You need to change it quickly. See, recovery, and I put the word recovery very strongly, because people who have a drug and alcohol abuse problem or any kind of addiction at all, you're never cured from that. You're never cured from that. That's why they always say you're a recovering alcoholic, you're a recovering drug addict, you're a recovering gambler, you're a recovering sex addict. You're never cured from that. Just like that, you can relapse and go back to the same patterns that led you to doing what you did. And sometimes relapse do happen. Sometimes it takes people 3 relapse to finally seek the help they need. Some people never do, which can result to losing their families, losing their freedom, even losing their lives. Drug, alcoholism, sex, gambling is a very serious thing. Something that should never be taken lightly. And one of the reasons why I always say that Lindsay Lohan still has these problems, because she's still following the same pattern, which leads to her situation that she's in right now. In fact, all she did was say, I'm going to keep doing the same things and pray that she gets different results. And I know from the recent articles I've read that she said she never really hurt the woman who she had a fight with at a club. Even though I'm dying to know what she was doing 4 o'clock in the morning, but that's her business. She called the 20-year-old gypsy, and obviously that was the assault that she had. She didn't really hit the person per se. She just insulted her with words. She said she still didn't punch her, but the point is, just put that aside for a moment here, and let's just ask ourselves the question: why do you keep putting yourself in situations knowing full well it may land you in more trouble? When I heard about the incident a few months back about her having a situation in the hotel with a guy, and I said this before, the guy did put her hands on her first, he should be in jail. There should be no reason why the cops should have let him go free. But their story was so insane, the cops said, you know what, we ain't buying none of this story, we're just going to drop it off and keep it moving. But the point was, I was more angry after the fact, because I actually talked about it. I said they should be mad, but I was also mad at Lindsay because, again, she didn't know this person. Why do you feel you need to have an entourage everywhere you go? Why do you feel you need to be around people everywhere you go? And I sometimes feel that the people who she's hanging out with are nothing more than vultures. Because I guarantee you, and I talked about this with a couple of people, both on the site and as well as just basically in modern talks, that these people here are only hanging out with you because you got the money. When that money runs dry, I want to see those same people hang out with you. And that's the thing that I don't understand. It may have to take her hitting rock bottom financially to understand that, and I don't think she really understands that. Now, put aside the Liz and Dick movie that came out. I don't know. I haven't seen the film. I'm not going to criticize it. I'm not going to criticize what I didn't see. I know it got panned by critics and didn't do too well at all on the Lifetime channel, but that's critics. Forget about the movie part. The point what I'm trying to get here is that in terms of viewers concerned, people are sick and tired of seeing her on screen. People are sick and tired of seeing her on their news, and they completely turned off by her. I'm turned off by it because the simple fact is she continues to follow the same pattern and refuses to realize she needs help. And what's sad about it is she makes the place, and well, other places who are designed to help people who has a strong addiction, who wants help, who really wants help, look bad. Because people outside say, well, she went to rehab and they didn't seem to help much. So why should I go to? Why should we continue to fund these certain rehab centers, or why should we even think they're worthwhile? They obviously doesn't work. She didn't go through the program. Here's the thing: she never went to the program from day one. 3 months in a rehab center is not going to help solve your problem. You sometimes need years just to get to the core of the problem. I'm saying this because, again, I have known people who have dealt with this. I know the effects that the drugs and alcohol and gambling has. I know for a fact that it is not something to play with. You can only fake it to make it for so long, and then you can hit rock bottom, and then before finally waking up and realizing that. And I don't think she ever grasped that. I think that she continues to feel that her way is fine. And that's because she's been given a free ride. I think there's time that the court stopped giving a free ride. Because obviously she has no respect for the law. She really don't. And yes, it's very clear. From her court hearings, from all the misdemeanors, from her parole violation, which, by the way, I'm not buying she's going to get violated from parole, even though the cops from California have charged her with obstruction of justice. And that's largely because she has the money. She has the money, and therefore she has the resources to skate past that. And as a consequence, she's not receiving the help that she probably would have gotten have the judge have nipped it in the bud and say, hey, look, you're going to be here for a few years. You need the help. Now, her father says he wants his daughter back in rehab. And that's another story, but that I just simply refuse to talk about because Lindsay called the cops on him because he was trying to force her to go to rehab. That family's history has not sparked well with me. But even I have to say that maybe he was right. Maybe she does need to go back to rehab. Now, I pretty much know she needs to go back to rehab. But the point is she going to go to rehab because she really wants it? Or is she going to go to rehab just so she can look good to the judge? And that's the thing. So that's my feeling about it. It's not Lindsay Lohan per se. It's the fact is that she constantly do the same thing over and over again, uses these facilities that is designed to help people as nothing more than an image plea to get her out of trouble. And she never really once take these services seriously. Her way she moves in the spotlight proves that. If you know going to clubs leads you into trouble, then don't go. You don't need to go to the club every single day. Don't hang out with friends that's basically going to pressure you to drink and do drugs that you know perfectly well is part of your triggers to get in trouble. And trust me, they don't have to say you want to if you want to sniff or you want to drink. All you need to do is have it around you, and then boom. It's not just admitting you got a problem. It's pretty much an overhaul change. That starts with the way you live, how you go about doing your business. Just saying I have a problem and saying that I'm addicted to this, I'm addicted to that, it's not enough. It's just not. A complete change needs to be made. Otherwise, you're just basically taking time bomb to happen. And I'm hoping. Look, I don't hate Lindsay Lohan. I'm keeping this real. I'm sick and tired of seeing her on my news. I'm sick and tired of seeing her getting in all sorts of stupid trouble and getting away with it. When if this was an average person making barely a minimum wage and do the same thing she's done, she's going to jail. They're going to jail. That's me, you, anybody who's a hard-working taxpayer. They're not given the chances that she's got. They're just not. And to prove how she doesn't understand the seriousness of her problem. When Amanda Bond got in trouble with her issues, and I do believe she also has issues of her own that she's not addressing yet, and I hope she gets the help she needs. I know she retired from the movie business, which, honestly, I thought she'd already been retired a long time ago. But when that came out, when the judge made hearings, she immediately blasted Amanda Bynes, saying she's getting a free ride and everything else. I guess she must have forgotten how much free ride she has, how much, how much leeway they was being, how much leniency they gave her, and the fact she was more concerned about Amanda Bynes than our own affairs, trying to push judgment on her and not keeping it solely on herself. And that's the thing I don't understand. Who knows? Maybe with the right people going, or right friends, people who really truly care for her, and not just her entourage, who only reason they're there is because she has the money and it makes them look good. It's pretty going to take a very dramatic turn for her to finally wake up. Now, as far as this is concerned, she said she didn't hit the girl. I don't know if it was true or not. But the point is, shouldn't have been there, especially at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry. It's a poor decision on her part, regardless of how you look at it. Well, guys, I'm done for the day. Pretty good, exactly at the time I needed to do. Those are the stories, and as always, I'll leave links to the story. You guys can talk about it, and also leave your own comments. And again, like always, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.